Welcome to the Simply Joyful podcast with my special guest, Jess Carey. Get ready to be encouraged. Hello, friends, and welcome to the Simply Joyful podcast, TV edition. I am so happy to have you joining me here for this special week-long episode release. This is just totally different. We are scrambling here at the Clover family house, trying to make sure I'm getting these interviews up and ready for you, but I hope you're enjoying them. So today we have Jess Carey on. We're going to be talking about her book called Chart a Course, and this book is really applicable to what we're going through right now. So I know you're going to be so encouraged. Do make sure you check out all the links below so that you can get a hold of all the different resources that we're discussing throughout this video. But I know you're going to be encouraged by this because we are talking about how to handle life's storms, which I think this counts as a storm right now with our pandemic happening. But I hope you're going to be encouraged and stay tuned to the end and we'll have more information for you. Well, hello, Jess, and welcome to the Simply Joyful podcast live. This is kind of fun.
Yeah. Woo-hoo. It's good to see you. I mean,
thank you. I know, right?
We're social distancing, but we're actually seeing face to face. I love it.
I know. See, even the podcast is following the rules. Well, yes. I am so thrilled to have you be my guinea pig for this fun little experiment that we're doing, trying to bring the podcast to life over here on YouTube to encourage people in the moment. Because so often we record these and like I am booked. I mean, I have podcasts recorded that won't even come out until May. Yeah. And so I really wanted to bring a relevant message to folks so that they can be encouraged by what people have to say that really ties into what's happening now. So before we jump too much further into our conversation, will you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you, your family, and what it is that you do?
Sure. I'm Jess. I live in Phoenix, Arizona. I have been married for nearly 14 years, and I have two kids, ages 12 and 10, who I am currently homeschooling like many moms. So that's a new adventure that we've started this week. But I'm also an author. I published a book last year, and I just am really excited about that new part of my life journey. So I've always wanted to write, or I felt led to write for many years. And that was the first actual finished project, dream, whatever that I accomplished. So it was exciting.
That is so awesome. Yeah, it's an undertaking. Yeah. That book, everybody's like it's like giving birth to a child. I'm like, no. And I'm like, no, it really is. Like it is long and hard. It's a long process and growing that baby. Yeah. And it's a long labor and delivery. So
yes. And it's like, so it's confusing. You're like, so when I publish this, like what exactly is going to happen then? You know, just like you have a kid and you hold it in your hands for the first time, you're like, oh, you're different than I expected. And that's exactly what happens with the book.
I love it. Well, your book is called Chart a Course, and it's all about taking a journey with God at the helm. And what an interesting topic for right now, because what I really wanted to bring you on to talk about is the fact that we've all been blown off course right now. So, you know, yes, we want to chart a course, but we're all kind of off course right now. So what encouragement do you have for people right now to be taking action and what they can be applying, you know, things they can be applying from your book to the current situation that we're in?
Absolutely. So there is an entire segment of the book that's called Persevere. And so anytime that we put our hand up and say, God, I want to follow you and I want to do your will, and we're excited about that journey, there will come a time and a point in that journey where we face tribulation, we face a storm, we face even divine delays of some kind. And so that entire segment is about how do we practically turn back to the actual course. How do we recalibrate our ships to God's will and his calling on our lives? There's a segment that is a change in circumstances. So all of us are in a massive change of circumstance.
We're there.
Yeah. We're like, oh yeah, that resonates with me. I'm like, yep, it does me too. But the thing that I want to remind us is that persevering is an active thing. So a lot of times it's like we can think of that word, or we can think of a season that is a storm, and it feels like just grip and hold yourself and just, but that's actually not what persevering well looks like. Persevering well is an active energy that we put an intentionality towards how we behave in those storms. So for me, and for many people, we are looking to women of faith, men of faith that are demonstrating courage, right? Mm-hmm. Fear and uncertainty, they are everywhere. And all of us are unpacking those emotions at the moment. But it's sort of like this active positioning of our faith as we pursue God's things and his plans for our lives set us apart as leaders during this time. So I was chatting with a young friend of mine yesterday, and she struggles with anxiety normally. And so this has really, as you said, knocked her off course. And I said, I just want to present maybe a challenge to you. I said, I don't want to refute that you are suffering. That's real. That is your truth right now. However, how about you challenge where you're at right now and say, okay, God, walk me out of this. How do I get to a place where I'm at the top of a roller coaster ride right now? That's what she feels like, right? Like, is my harness on? Do I have my helmet? Like, I'm at Six Flags and I don't want to be, like that's what she's feeling. And I said, but this is your opportunity that you start to build a practical step-by-step or a mechanism that will help you face it, cope with the anxiety. And I said, you will be able to share that with other women. You're not the only person that is going through this in the same way. I said, so look at this as a chance for you to start to build out some plans and a testimony that you can share with others. So I think for me, yes, we are dealing with uncharted waters, right? Some practical things, because I love practical things. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's feeling that fear and going ahead and doing it anyways. And so for us, it's being that willing party to step onto the battlefield. So that may mean buying only what you and your family needs, even though fear says buy more than what you need, So it's like, that's one thing. Number two, donating or giving resources that you're unsure you're going to have in 2 to 3 weeks time, but that someone else needs them. That's courage. That's faith. That's stepping out and being a leader. Number three, maybe if you're crafty, which I am not, I wish I was, but that's not my gifting. But if you can sew or use hot glue like a boss, I don't know.
Hey, that's my DIY. I'm like duct tape and hot glue. I'm like, if I can't do DIY with either of those things, then I'm done. So.
I mean, I can cook you a mean meal and plant some gardens, but sewing is not my jam.
No.
But
that's a story for another time. I have a sewing story.
That's another time, another place. Christy, come back. We should plan another conversation maybe 6 months from now. Both you and I will have learned how to sew. Who knows?
No, honestly, it's like there are things I really want to learn to do, and I've lowered that. Somewhere inside, I want to learn to sew, but no, I don't know. Sorry. Okay, so number 3, use your creativity.
Number 3 is basically like if you can, sew masks, sew medical masks, sew robes, like that is a massive need. There's tons of even hospitals are actually putting out PDFs of oh gosh, I don't even know what the word of it is, but the what is the word I'm looking for?
Like the guide or
that's it.
Pattern. Yes.
See?
You nailed it.
I'm such a
together.
All your
brains will work
listeners
together.
All the listeners that sew are going to be like, oh wow, she's really lost. Anyways, and then
we already gave the disclaimer. We don't.
Yes, it's true.
We're speaking a different language right now.
Yeah. But the last thing that I wrote down here was, offer to care for a neighbor's kids, especially if they work in healthcare or they're not able to work remotely. Like, find out, are there kids in the neighborhood, and can you keep a couple extras as long as you know that that's going to be your little close-knit community over the next couple weeks? It's massive. It's massive for moms and dads that are still required to work, like healthcare workers and
So hard.
admins and things like that. It's like, we can do that. We can be the hands and feet. So those are
I
some of the
love it.
options.
Those are great. I love practical. So I love
Yes.
it. Thank you. And, and the thing that I've been encouraging people to do, because I did a YouTube video, I'll link it. But I'm encouraging people to take notes about things like activities that they can do. Yeah, sorry, I can speak. But I'm encouraging people to make a list of things you can do with your kids, but not to be afraid to make a list of things that you want to do when this is over. Because I think it's important to have hope and to dream about what we can get back to. And, maybe there is that little because I think everybody's thinking I really wanted to do that, but now it has to wait but all those things are shifting in priorities for a lot of us. So now I have a feeling once everyone's feeling good and things are more in control and settled, we're going to move getting out and doing those things to a different priority, level. No, we are going to go to Yosemite this year because that's important to us. And we really want to make it to Yosemite this year. So I know in your book, you talk a lot about dreaming with God. So how can we dream with God right now, even in the midst of all of this uncertainty that's happening?
Yeah. Well, I love the fact that God works together for the good of those who love him, no matter the circumstances. So if we really believe that, we believe that scripture, then even in the midst of this, time in history, God's opening doors to opportunities for each of us. And he's breathing new life, new pathways are opening up. And so for me, my husband's a serial entrepreneur, by the way. So he's always looking for opportunities. I mean, anyways, so that's sort of part of our family DNA is okay, what's the new business we can launch,
Hey, I love it.
Yeah.
That's why my husband's slow down. We could do this and we could do this. And he's just stick to the YouTube thing right now. I'm okay.
Yeah. You sound like my husband. I'm probably more like your husband, He's okay, babe, we didn't really fully manifest the last ones. Can we just but it's good because you have that partnership. So as far as that goes, yes, God has basically given us all this flexible schedule. He's put this new time, I don't know, this set aside time. Now, granted, our schedules are all kind of flipped upside down at the moment, but there is some flexibility being placed on us all. And I think that's on purpose. I think that God wants his people to take that extra time and say, okay, God, give me the eyes to see you working through this circumstance, first of all. And then secondly, God, what do you have for me in this circumstance, right? There is treasure. Absolutely. And I do talk about this in the book. It's there's buried treasure in every season if you're willing to look for it. So right now, start looking for buried treasure. And I literally have made a habit, starting with all this stuff started blowing up. I'm okay, what is my silver lining today? What's the silver lining in today? That's the buried treasure. So rather than wake up, watch the news, oh, it's getting worse, which, let's be real, it is, and it's not nice. But okay, what are the things that you can hold on to? What are the good things? What are the silver linings? What I get to spend all day with my kids? Amazing. I'm loving that. We're going on a family walk every day. Silver lining. I got to meet two of my neighbors I'd never met before. Silver lining. So just ticking those things, and making a note of them, it'll help you maintain a positive perspective, and it'll also help you see God outworking the dreams in your life, even during a storm.
Oh, I love that. That is so great because that's so true. I'm a Pollyanna by nature, which to those of you who are very young and don't understand that term, I've suddenly realized I'm old. That's a really weird thing. I will say things and I'll have the young moms look at me what are you doing? I'm darn it, I crossed over. I'm doing that now.
No, but I got you. I heard you.
You understand me. But if someone's watching and you're a young mom, so Pollyanna's this old, and for me, Disney movie with Haley Mills.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes.
right? So very positive outtake on life and everything like that. Everything's positive and it's going to be hunky dory. So I'm very positive. And so it's easy for me to do that. And yet I know that I also have to be a little realistic for those around me that be like, well, because I am a planner and I do love to get organized. And I will say this, like I am creative. So I'm probably not giving myself enough credit for the fact that we do like to be creative and get artsy, but I really don't know how to, like the sewing thing. I can't. I would love to. I have dear friends who are wonderful at sewing and I just employ them to help me.
Yes.
That's what I do. I'm like, please don't make me hit my sewing machine again. So with that, I just took over our entire dining room and turned it into this big arts and crafts area,
awesome.
just to allow the kids some space to be creative. Because right now I think that it is, as much as I want to think only hunky-dory happy thoughts, some people have worry, and I don't want my kids to be stuck in that. I want them to really be making fun memories right now. So not just the, like you were saying, think of the silver lining, but be realistic for those that are around us as well.
Yeah.
Make memories, right? Yeah. Like you were saying, like that is one of the amazing things. How often have we said, man, I wish we had time for that?
Yep.
Welcome. Welcome to the world of the corona pandemic. You now have time. And it's crazy. Granted, it's not quite the time that we were all hoping for, but we can check out Pinterest and Google and YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. Yeah. Everyone's getting so creative, and that's what's been so fun. I mean, all these worship artists, they're releasing new songs. You've got all of these, pastors putting great stuff out. You've got creatives being creative. We were watching a YouTube video, and this like awesome illustrator was showing us how he illustrates or draws the characters from the book that he wrote. And I was like, amen.
Amazing.
So cool. So there's lots of great resources out there too during this time. But absolutely. Jess, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on and talking about your new book. And just, can you share with us where people can get a copy? First, you have to hold it up because I don't have my physical copy. I'm going to pretend. There we go.
Look, there it is.
Of course. Woohoo.
Yeah.
I know books take effort. So please tell us where people can connect with you and where they can get a copy of Chart a Course.
Sure. You can get it on Amazon. Or if you live in the greater Phoenix area, you can go to Changing Hands Bookstore. They also have it, but who knows how long they'll be open or if they're open now. Other than that,
Amazon's not holding. I was just told Amazon does not have, I don't know if they're not selling the physical copies or they're just letting their supply run out. So everybody can get the digital copy too.
This is also very true. You can get the digital copy on Amazon as well. The other thing, you can connect with me on Instagram. I'd love to connect with you. It's Jess_Carey, AZ, as in Arizona. And then my website, I actually have a bunch of free resources on the website that, the viewers can download. It's jessicacarey.co. So JESSICACAREY.co.
Perfect. And we'll have that. It's going to magically show up right here.
Wow. That's all your creativity. I love it.
That's right. So it's going to show up right here. But do make sure if you are watching this video that you go and check out all the show notes below and all the links. So we will be putting links to all the different things that we mentioned. But thank you so much, Jess, for coming on today. I really appreciate you taking time out of, our now weird, wonky schedules to do this.
Yes, it was my pleasure. Thank you so much, Christy.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Simply Joyful podcast. Be sure to check out all the episodes available from the podcast by going to simplyjoyfulpodcast.com. Also, be sure to subscribe here on YouTube so you don't miss all of the other videos that we have coming your way. Have a great rest of your week, and don't forget to live simply and be joyful.